What's going on, guys? Jimmy Mahalik here, back with a second stimulus check update today for you guys. In this video, I'm going to have an update for you on where the second stimulus check is, what's the current status of that. I'm going to give you an update on essential workers. I've had a lot of people asking about that, and also an update on the current unemployment status, what will happen with that expiring soon. Okay, first up, President Donald Trump and Republicans have recently said that they are in support of a second stimulus check. President Donald Trump has actually said he wanted a larger stimulus check than the Democrats. The Democrats currently have a $1,200 proposal, a $1,200 check to be sent out directly to Americans in their HEROES bill that passed the House, and the Democrats just ignored it and didn't vote on it. So if they were to pass a larger second stimulus check, it would probably be larger than $1,200, and a lot of people think $2,000. Even Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Majority Leader, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, has gone on to say that we'll probably need another stimulus bill or another round of stimulus. And this would probably include the second stimulus check to Americans because the Republicans want to get this check out before the election, which happens in November. We basically have the end of July, August, September, and October. So we only have a couple months to get this passed and get it started to send out. And there's been a lot of talk that there will be a frenzy between the senators and the House of Representatives when they come back from their July 4th recess to try to get this passed before August 7th or August 8th. So they're going to have about a 2-week period coming up where they're going to probably try to pass the next stimulus package. And it's going to be a little bit tough for them because the Republicans and the Democrats haven't been agreeing on much. They've both been saying that they do want a second stimulus package, but they have to iron out all the details and get that passed probably within a 2-week period coming up so that all this can be in process and get all these checks out. As you know, the first stimulus check took months to come and get out those stimulus checks to certain people. Some people got it right away, the direct deposit people, and people that were getting their checks mailed to them. Some people didn't even get their checks until months later. So they need to get that process going ASAP if they want to get that check out before the next re-election so that President Trump can get those votes from people that are happy that they got a second stimulus check. Now, there's been a lot of accusations from the Democrats that the Republicans were purposely stalling the second stimulus check so that it would be closer to the election. And that is kind of what we've seen. I mean, the HEROES Act was passed by the House of Representatives, passed by the Democrats 50 days ago. And the Republicans, which control the Senate, didn't even vote on it. They just completely ignored it for 50 days. So now they're going to be in a time crunch here at the end of July to hurry up and pass this second stimulus package and a stimulus check to Americans so that they can get it out before the election. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that down below in the comments. Also, if you can, hit the like button for me down below. It really helps out my channel. Also, there's been recent talks from Republicans that when they pass the second stimulus check, that they want it to be more targeted to people and they want to exclude certain people from this stimulus check. And the reason they want to do that is because they want to be fiscally responsible and not spend too much money. In the HEROES Act, which was the second proposal for a stimulus check, only 9% of the money was actually going to go to actual Americans in the form of a $1,200 payment. Only 9% of that money was actually going to be paid to Americans. So the other 91% of the money is going to things like paying for states and cities that are pretty much almost going to be going bankrupt here soon, and bailout packages, stimulus packages for businesses, for state and local governments, and all sorts of other things. So only 9% of the money was actually going to go to Americans, and they want to reduce that even further and, exclude some people from the next stimulus check, I think that's absolutely crazy. They're 91% of the money is going to other things besides a check to Americans. Let me let me know your thoughts down below in the comments if you agree or disagree that only 9% of the money should go to Americans, or even less than that, or if you think it should be a whole lot more. Also, I've had hundreds of comments from you guys asking about hazard pay or pay bonuses to essential workers, and there's not really a lot of news from the federal government or from Congress regarding this. The HEROES Act did have provisions for billions of dollars to be given to essential workers and hazard pay, but as we just discussed, the Senate has completely ignored that bill for 50 days. They were supposed to negotiate on it, and the Senate has recently said they're just going to pass their own bill, and that will probably happen when we come back from the July recess. The only hazard pay and essential worker extra bonus pay we've seen recently has been by companies such as Amazon, who has given $500 million in bonus to their frontline workers, and other companies like Walmart and Target that have also done, hundreds of millions of dollars to their workers at those specific companies. That's all the essential workers pay or bonuses that we've had recent news on. I will update you guys when I hear of new news from Congress for everybody, all essential workers. The big discussions has really been about the second stimulus check and the unemployment benefits. The $600 per week unemployment benefits, which is still going out to about 20 some million Americans, is set to end on July 31st. And Congress doesn't get back from their vacation until pretty close to that. And most states aren't going to even issue the final week payment of that July 31st federal unemployment bonus. So most people won't actually get that $600 per week of the last week of July because the deadline falls past July 31st. So will they extend this? I think there's a pretty good chance of extending it, but I think that there's an even better chance that the deadline will happen and July 31st will pass, and they'll pass something in August to extend the benefits. I just don't know if they're going to have enough time to pass this bill in July and get bipartisan support from both Democrats and Republicans. So we will see. We're going to have a lot of news coming up about this unemployment benefits extension in the very near future. Also, another frequent question that I get from you guys a lot down in the comments is, do you have to pay tax on a stimulus check or stimulus money that's sent to you from the government? And the answer is no, you don't need to pay taxes on it. As you can see here, something a lot of people don't realize is that stimulus payments are not taxable. They're actually an advance on a new credit on your 2020 federal income taxes. And if you didn't qualify for the stimulus payment based on your prior year's income, but you do qualify for it based on your 2020 income or for the next stimulus check, you can claim that stimulus payment as a credit on your 2020 tax return. As I briefly mentioned earlier, there's many states and cities in the United States that are flirting with bankruptcy and are facing huge budget shortfalls because, we were in quarantine and basically the states were taking in much, much less tax revenue and income tax because people weren't working, businesses weren't making nearly as much money. And unfortunately, our states and cities aren't really run that well, and a lot of them don't have millions and millions of dollars in savings. So what happens is when they face a budget shortfall, they can literally run out of money in just a few months. And we pretty much need the federal government to bail them out, or in the next stimulus package, include a whole bunch of money, probably near $1 trillion, to bail out these states and cities, or they will literally be going bankrupt. And if they go bankrupt, then millions of people that work for states, cities, and the government will lose their job and literally literally crazy stuff could happen. Like the police and the fire department literally run out of money and don't have money to pay their employees. So that probably won't happen because they'll pass more stimulus money for the states and cities in the next stimulus package, but we will have to wait and see. And the crazy thing about all this is while state and local city governments are almost on the brink of bankruptcy, millions of people are out of work. The stock market just hit an all-time high today. Yeah, I can't believe it either. The NASDAQ Composite Stock Market Index just hit an all-time high today. You can see this graph here as year to date. You can see that it was around 10,000. It dropped dramatically down to like 7,000 in March and has literally been climbing ever since, even though the pandemic hasn't really gotten better and we've only slightly opened the country, and we're seeing a lot of states actually close back down. And this is the year-to-date chart. If you look at the 5-year chart, you can just see the growth of the stock market, how crazy it's been. Here's a max. I mean, we are just in stratosphere levels here during a pandemic when there's more people out of work than in the past like 50 years, and businesses literally are down by a lot. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Let me know your thoughts because I cannot figure it out. I think that if we see a second shutdown in a larger capacity that we have now, I think that we're really due for a stock market crash. I mean, if you ever looked at a bubble, this would be it. I mean, we're in a pandemic right now where millions of companies are struggling, their revenues down. There's very few companies that have higher earnings right now, like Amazon and Netflix, because people are shopping from home more and watching TV from home more because they don't want to go out and spend money. This just screams bubble to me if I've ever seen one ever before in my life. Oh, and by the way, remember 2008 when, the stock market almost collapsed and, the banking system almost failed? This is it right here. This is this tiny little blip right here. That's 2008 here, and look at where we are now. And also, if you guys aren't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button down below and the like button. This way you won't miss out on second stimulus check news. We're going to have a lot of new news coming out. As we get through the end of July and the unemployment benefits, we're going to have a lot of news whether they extend that yet or not. And this top video over here is about a major decision that our country is going to need to make. If you haven't watched that one yet, make sure you do. It's a great video. And over here, I'll link a video which teaches you how to start an Amazon business. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income by selling one product on Amazon. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.